If you're in the crypto or NFT space and you're wondering where it is going, stick around. Today we're talking about what we think the next stages of evolution of NFTs will be. And we kind of know because we've been planning it for years. This episode will be covering two main things: the current state of NFTs and where the utility is generally going to be in the future. Next week, we'll be talking about what all of this specifically means for Ultra. Let's get to it. Hi guys, welcome back to Ultra Chill. It's been a while.
Hey Rami, everyone.
I wanted to start with how NFTs are currently used in the ecosystem.
I think it's a good start. It's a very brand new technology, so I guess that's, like with every technology, you have a very first step. And I think that's where we are right now with the current technology out there. And I think that's showing good direction. We can see there is lots of traction, lots of interest, even for like basic functionalities. So I think the future holds some great stuff for it.
If you're a fan of something and you have a unique image of that something and you can use it as your profile picture, for example, that's a great use case. And so just like, when you get an autograph of somebody and then you put it in your home on a wall, it's unique, right? And this is kind of like what's happening right now with NFTs. Now, obviously, it's just the beginning. And I look at NFTs a little bit like the Wild West. Like we're just barely starting, right? There's a lot of things that we haven't discovered yet. And that's exciting to me.
I think a lot of people don't really understand what NFTs actually are. My favorite metaphor for NFTs is one that I came up with to explain them to my wife sometime last year. And basically, I think of NFTs like houses. And in each house, there's all kinds of things that you can do. There's like the functions, the actions that you have in the house. You can eat from the fridge, or you can use the bathroom, you can sleep in it, you can store your stuff in it. It's all stuff that you can do in a house. And whether you have access to that functionality depends on whether you have the key. And I think that like people don't understand what NFTs are because they don't have the concept of being able to do stuff with NFTs, because right now you're very limited to what you can actually do. And we talk a ton inside of Ultra about what real utility for NFTs could be. And truthfully, I think that we've been on the forefront for this for years. Where do you think NFTs are going? Because it's all about that utility, right?
I think it's important to understand that there are two types of utility with NFT that will arise from them. The first will be derived from the application that make use of the NFT. So the NFT is the way I look at it, and I like your metaphor, but the way I look at it is a programmable license, which can be moved according to certain rules that have been programmed and which might have certain type of functionality attached to it. So it's a programmable license, which at the same time is an application in itself, and it's self-certified. So that means that utility can be derived from either the application that uses that license, such as a social network who will accept a certain NFT as your avatar. But then you can also have utility, which will be derived from the NFT application itself. And so you can have functionality that runs actually on the blockchain and that can add additional value, which can be derived again from the blockchain. So, for example, you can have an NFT that has certain data, and this data can then be modified by the NFT itself. And you, the owner of the NFT, might be potentially the only person who can activate this part of the program. So with that in mind, you can start thinking and imagine many different use cases.
Well, let's talk for a second about those use cases, because I think that they're like interesting, and like we kind of know what some of them are right at this point, right? So I think that there's things that you can get with NFTs. You want to talk a little bit about that? Like if you have an NFT, then you can get such and such thing?
Because it's a license, you could unlock through an NFT any type of property, both inside and outside of the blockchain. So, for example, you can say if you own that NFT, I give you access to my game, or to my game virtual item, or to a DLC, or to a movie, or to a music, or music rights, or the ownership of a house, or basically an NFT can represent literally everything, both digitally and physically.
Yeah, I think can really go into so many possibilities with NFTs. Whether you want to go through brands related, you would have prime access to the new collection that they would release. Can be for, I don't know, for a clothes line. I don't know if tomorrow Dior say, okay, if you have this NFT, you have the right to buy this many bags. Why not? This can be sort of gate or benefits that you can also give to people. Say, hey, you are an amazing customer, you get this NFT which grants you the access to a new collection. So you really have this sort of gate approach and rewarding approach. It really shows value. It just depends how it's used by the brand, how scarce it is. If you spread like millions of them, nobody cares anymore. It's not valuable. But it can still be a way to do it. If, for example, this translates into cinema tickets, for example, then you don't care about that scarcity aspect. It's really a easier technology to use for just getting access to your movie.
It just becomes like a decentralized distribution platform at that point.
Yeah, basically it's like this proof of ownership, right? It proves that you get this thing, and whatever this is, it can be literally anything. Now you will obviously have everybody in tech first pushing for that, and then the brands who are doing a lot of marketing because they always want to try and use the latest tips and tricks, right? The latest technology they can use to actually be super visible, get their community super excited, get new users, more sales. So all of those like forward-thinking companies are the one who will be taking advantage of that first, and I believe you will after the other ones like will be okay, sure, I need that too, because I can see that works, right?
Right.
So to me, that's really on that aspect. But you have all the spectrum of business, whether it become discounts, whether it becomes reward, whether it becomes like referral affiliates. You can take anything and use it as an NFT and make it just better.
Then there comes the second big value of NFTs in every use case, as Nicolas just mentioned, is that NFT is a self-certified license, meaning once it's there, anybody that sees it or that receives it can verify its authenticity without having to ask anybody,
Right.
or having access to a backend or something like that. So that means that because it's like a self-sovereign asset, anybody can create an application that supports this asset. And as a result, this asset can basically be distributed through a fabric of applications and services, such as, in our case, we have, the unique marketplace, but we also have like this tournament platform that will support it. There's live streaming platform that will support it. And so suddenly creating such an asset, you can throw it in nature, and then it can start living in all kinds of services, networks, social networks, applications, and so really creating these assets allow you to distribute it, and to transport this license, this right to something, in a very convenient way, and in a very open way, which is very much akin to Web 3.0.
There's the other direction also, because NFTs, they're something that you receive, But because there's also like a facet of it where if you have it, then it grants you rights to do things. From a brand perspective, you can have a brand which wants to release, such and such thing to their community, but they're not sure what the community wants, and they can use that as like a voting mechanism. If you hold the NFT, then it grants you access to the voting mechanism, which allows you to interact with the brand itself. Like there's a community element there between the brands and the holders of the NFTs of that brand.
So a way to have like super fans, that's how you convert them in a way. A little bit like the VIP programs you have in many different type of businesses. Once you're there, you feel really part of the experience, part of the brand, and you want to support the brand much deeper, right? Because you get access to this close community and they talk to you directly, right?
Right.
So there's this sort of close interaction, which is highly beneficial for the brand, but also for the customers, because they're like, okay, cool, now I can, have my say in the brand I love. And I think that's super key. In what you explained, this is really obviously the voting right is important because you have, impact on the brand, but it's also about building this close, tight, and that we see that a lot, in NFT drops today, that, they create very small communities, but very like tied together because they have this opportunity to be like part of it. And then when you get something, you have the opportunity for it, then you usually want it more. It's like for the discount, oh, okay, you have these 4 NFTs. Wow, if I have the 5th NFTs, I have a discount on this, so I'm gonna buy it because I have a discount. Do you want it? Oh, I didn't thought about it. I just know it's discounted, so I want it, right? So this is all kind of, like behavior that are incentivized by mechanisms that you created, like for example with the gated community.
Next week, we'll be covering the more specific use cases for utility within NFTs and how it affects Ultra and the project going forward. Thanks to Nicolas and David for their time. See you next week. Keep it ultra chill.